And I want to drop in with you today around what is somatic wealth, what are the foundations of somatic wealth, and how do they integrate with the embodied CEO. I have some notes here so I stay on track. What I've noticed is when I do these lives, I tend to go off on tangents because there is so much information, there is so much wisdom that wants to pour from me, and so much value that I want to give in these moments, that I can oftentimes sort of loop around into tangents that then end up making no sense. And I really want to keep myself focused and on track with delivering this message and leaving you with some wisdom that you can truly take away and start to implement in your lives and businesses, so you can start to live more embodied through your business. And this is essentially what somatic wealth is. It's the whole ethos behind the embodied CEO. It is body-led business, which is why somatics are so important. This is the integration of our masculine and feminine properties, of our capacity for drive and direction, with the deeply feeling, deeply intuitive part of our feminine essence. And again, I mentioned this yesterday, in all of my information that I will be sharing, I'm focusing on women's wisdom because this is my own embodied experience. I couldn't well be an embodied CEO and be teaching masculine principles to men, because I'm not a man and I'm not embodied in my masculine container. I'm embodied in my feminine container and in this capacity to hold the frequency of the embodied CEO. So somatic wealth building is the integration of our body intelligence with our business strategies, and it's the marrying of these two principles. So generally traditional business practices neglect body signals, and this is what leads to burnout and overwhelm. When we're not in deep connection with our body, when we're not tapped into the wisdom of our own oracle, the wisdom of our womb as women, we can drop out of embodiment, we can drop out of relationship with ourselves and our body, and it's from this place that we start to push into hustle and drive and overwhelm. And it's from this place that we can lack clarity and direction. And so this integration back into embodiment, this capacity to have somatic wealth, is coming into deep relationship with ourselves and deep relationship with our bodies, and leading our businesses from this place. I touched on this point, but it's the integration of our internal energetics, our masculine and feminine poles, and really focusing on the importance of integrating our action and our logic with our intuition and our nurturing. So core principles of somatic wealth, which really relate to the core principles of how I work with my clients, is through body, mind, soul. So embodiment for me is through these gateways, and we dive deeper into what these gateways are and the pathways to access them through pleasure, play and prosperity in a lot of my containers. But really it comes down to having self-awareness, emotional regulation, and ensuring that we're operating from alignment, which gives us the capacity to be in flow. Now, I feel this point is one of the most important, in that if we are operating from hustle, if we are operating from logic, we tend to, as women, we tend to feel overwhelmed, we tend to push into burnout, and we tend to lack clarity. And the reason this starts to happen is because we're not in connection with our body. We don't have any somatic practices. We don't have any tools in order to connect back to the wisdom of our body, the wisdom of our wombs, and to really lead our businesses from this place. And so whether you're just beginning your somatic journey or you're deeply steeped in these practices, it's often about stripping it back to basics and really coming into deeper relationship with what's alive for you right now, And often with the women that I'm working with in this space, it's about really cutting out the noise of the external world and dropping into deeper wisdom, into deeper connection with our wombs and our cervix. And it's from this place that our oracle pours. And so self-awareness is quite obvious, but I find as we become more successful or start to achieve more, self-awareness can almost be the tool that we use or like weaponize against ourselves, because we feel that we have all the answers. And oftentimes it's from this place of, having all the tools, being a coach ourselves or being a leader ourselves, and constantly guiding others and feeling like we should have all the answers, that we don't allow ourselves the support, we don't allow ourselves the deeper reflection, and we sort of get almost stuck in surface level self-awareness because our ego has constructed ways to hide from ourselves. So we actually almost hide in self-awareness itself, and we often need deeper levels of reflection and introspection to actually reach the truth of what's happening in our lives, and this can come through our body and come through guidance from this place. Emotional regulation, again, when we have all of the tools, we think that emotional regulation can come easy. And for me, this has been a journey to not allowing my emotions to derail myself. This deeper level of embodiment, this dropping one layer deeper, has been about curating tools that allows me to feel my emotions but not get derailed by them, and continue to show up for my business in big ways without the excuse of, well, I was in a trigger and now I'm going to take the rest of the day to process, because that in a lot of cases also isn't true. These are the subtle ways that we can self-sabotage. I don't really like the term self-sabotage, but I'll drop into that in another live. But this is the subtle ways that we can self-sabotage to keep ourselves stuck where we are, rather than applying our masculine discipline in order to get things done. So the ways in which we can have a deeper level of embodiment in this space, the ways in which we can be in deeper relationships so we can have more awareness as to whether it's true or whether it's a subtle way we're deflecting from our responsibilities, is by incorporating daily practices. So daily practices can look like mindfulness and body awareness meditations. And what I mean by that is sitting down in the morning. I have a big mirror that I sit in front of the morning. You would have seen I just posted a story around, like the first commandment of an embodied CEO. We don't touch our business until we touch our body. And this is exactly what I mean by this, in that if we haven't met ourselves in front of the mirror, we don't really have permission or the capacity or the somatic space to touch our business. And so daily practices is really important, and they don't have to look the same. I used to get caught up in this almost perfectionism, and perfectionism is also a subtle way we self-sabotage. But I used to get caught up in this perfectionism that if my daily practices didn't look the same, that they weren't good enough. And so my invitation here is to have an arsenal of somatic tools, an arsenal of embodiment practices that you can reach for and connect with in order to get into your body before you get into your business. And this is important because when we make decisions from this place, they become embodied, and when we're working from alignment, not from override. So we want to ensure that decisions in our business, in our lives, are coming from the truth of our body, not overriding from this mental space, which is often just focused on achieving the next thing, achieving success, achieving something, ticking something off of our list. And so just some practices I'll drop here for you is ecstatic dance. It could be singing. So singing, actually activating our voice, regulates our vagal nerve and actually allows us to drop into nervous system regulation. So singing, it's why I actually sing in the car every day. I also am definitely going to be a famous singer. That's not my desire. But part of the reason that I sing to myself daily is because it actually allows me to regulate. Like, toning is a regulation tool. You could literally just be like, la, 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 la. And that will actually allow you to start to regulate your nervous system. So the gateways to embodiment are breath, sound, movement. So if you remember breath, sound, movement. So movement could be sensual dance. It could be shaking, it could be tapping. Breath is obviously quite simple. You can do some breath work. You can download lots of resources on that. You can just do simple womb heart breath, so breathing all the way down into your womb, up into your chest, and then out. And even that for 30 minutes a day is going to get you in your body. So you're touching your body, you're touching the somatic container that is holding your logic before you're getting into your business. And I go into deeper alignment techniques in a lot of my containers, and we weave this into how we're using pleasure, play and prosperity to come into alignment in how you're making decisions in your life and business. Just making sure I haven't missed anything in my notes. If you have any questions, please drop them into the chat. I love interaction. I don't often subscribe to labels, but those that love human design, I'm a sacral responder. And so lives are actually really a stretch for me. I'm really stretching my capacity to show up in this leadership because I operate better from responding. So I'd love, if you have any questions, to drop them into the chat relevant to somatics and embodiment. Yeah, so emotional regulation from this place is really important. When we learn how to regulate our emotions, we start to make better decisions and we have a lot more clarity in our lives. And so I shared this on my stories the other day. There was a time in my life where every time a man, a business partner or a client or whomever it was, corrected me in any way, does it matter what you dance to? I'm going to come back to that. So every time a man would correct me in any way, I used to cry. And it's because I had a trigger that I needed to deal with from my childhood, and also I didn't have the capacity to regulate my emotions. So a quick tip for regulating your emotions: if you feel big emotions coming up, it can be really helpful to tap your heart. Does it matter what you dance to? No, truly. Some mornings I put on slow sensual music, and it's more about like getting into my body and like really being slow and touching myself sensually. Some mornings there's anger or a lot of energy that I want to move, so I might put on like literally something a little more intense, and I normally put on tribal beats, and I start to like really like shake my body and have more like, whether it's like stamping my feet or even like getting on my knees and hitting my hands into the ground. Somatics in this way is about moving the energy and being with what's present. So it's not about getting in front of the mirror and being like, well, today my coach said that I had to do a somatic embodiment practice, so I'm going to be a good little girl and I'm going to dance to this sensual song. And you start to put on this sensual song and you're touching your body, and like you're disgusted at touching your body, and anger comes up and you really don't want to be here in the moment. That is overriding your own oracle. It's overriding the wisdom of your body. And the whole point of these practices is to come into the truth of the truth of what's alive for you somatically in the moment. So really it's about, for me, anytime I feel emotion, I sit in front of my mirror, I put my hand on my heart, and I take 3 deep breaths in. I go, and I ask myself, what's here? What's here? What's here? That's somatics. I'm breathing into my body, I'm touching my heart, and I'm asking my heart, what's here? What's here for me to know? That is body-led practice, which is the whole point of Embodied CEO. Embodiment, somatics, the word somatics literally means body, in essence. So everything we're doing is coming back into allowing your body to speak to you in order to come into alignment with how you're operating your life and your business. And so, yeah, there's no prescription to what to listen to or what to do. It's truly just curating this relationship. Also, having a routine starts to build the relationship with the parts of you that you need to build trust with, that you need to rebuild this relationship with. So, as time-consuming as having a routine may feel, we're doing ourselves, it's almost like a double-edged sword in a good way, because we're also rebuilding this relationship with parts of us that need to know that it can trust ourselves to have our own back and to have to hold us through what's going to unfold in the day ahead. I appreciate that question. I want to drop in a quick stress management technique. So again, body-led business, somatic-led wealth, somatic-led business building. You're so welcome. Truly, any questions? And I'm going to keep doing video series. So if any of you have any questions you would like answered, please slide into my DMs and I will try curate some lives around that. So stress management with somatics. The simplest and quickest way is when you feel a trigger or when you feel stress building is to do some box breathing. So box breathing is breathing to the beat of 4. So it's breathing in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hard to breathe in and count. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 2, 3, 4. In for 4, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And so that's a really good embodied way to handle stress and not allow yourself to get into overwhelm. Yeah. I feel that's covered everything in relation to what somatic wealth is, what the embodied CEO is, who I am. It's basically business through our body, and business from a more integrated, grounded place, which allows us to get rid of burnout and overwhelm and stress, because we're allowing our body to lead. And when we live and lead from alignment, our nervous system responds. And when our nervous system responds, we have the capacity to build more wealth, to hold more wealth, and to curate a life full of pleasure, play, and prosperity. Thank you so much for being with me. Please drop any comments below or any requests below or any takeaways you had from this moment. Thank you.